this is gonna be evade counters, right? Evade counters, they're really good, but it's a really hard thing to practice without a partner, right? So we're gonna try, but you have to really kind of use your imagination here, because we're imagining that somebody is striking at us and we are essentially dodging their strike and then countering back. Now, the hardest thing with an evade counter is the counter, right? Evading actually is really easy, right? All you have to do is get out of the range. But if we get too far out of range, we can't hit our opponent back, right? And that's, you know, give or take, right? Sometimes if you feel threatened by their strike and you really feel like, hey, if I take that hit, I'm gonna take a lot of damage, it's better to not take the hit and just get out of the way and not be able to counter back. But if you've kind of done big evasions, right, and just seen, hey, this person is really sloppy, or they throw a really big strike and then there's a long time between their second strike, that's the sort of thing that you want to notice for the evade counter. And then you have to figure out your distance with them, right? So now, evade counter is different than a block counter, right? I'm trying not to make contact with their stick or their weapon at any point in time with my own weapon, right? I want them to just airball it, right? They should completely miss me and I should hit them immediately before they can get into their next chamber position. So it's difficult. This is a pretty advanced kind of concept. And you do really need a partner in order to actually get this ingrained in you, right? I'm just gonna say that. We can practice this solo, and that's what we're about to do. But if you have a partner, it's so much better, because then you can really learn your distance whenever you're doing this. And that's something that it just takes time, and it takes putting on gear and getting hit to figure out how to manage that distance properly. If you don't put on your gear and you don't get hit enough times to where you know how to not get hit, then you're probably gonna get hit when you actually try this the first time. So just, you know, warning, right? Find a partner, it helps a lot. All right, so we're gonna do, I have a 7 count striking system that I like to do whenever I'm kind of teaching sparring progressions. We're not gonna do all 7, we're gonna go through 6 though, and we're gonna adapt this to a evade counter, right? So you basically know this already. It's basically 1 through 6 angles, except for 5 and 6 are no longer gonna be these upward diagonals for this drill, right? They're going to be horizontal, so it'd be kind of like a low 3 and a low 4, right? So the striking pattern is angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, angle 4, and then we've got a low 3 and a low 4, right? So targeting here, right? And somebody targeting my head with a diagonals, somebody can either be targeting my head or my shoulders with horizontals, and then somebody targeting my leg with horizontals, okay? The leg ones are actually the easy ones for evade counters, right? You can practice that one without a partner, relatively easy. All right, so what we're gonna be doing though, imagining first my opponent is striking at me with an angle 1 coming at me this way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my stick, I'm going to move back, and then move forward. Now, when we're practicing this, I want you to glue your front foot to the ground, right? Wherever it's at, it's nailed in, right? It does not move for this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move my body back. Now, you can only do this if you know that they're kind of aiming at your head. The torso, it's a little bit more risky. The head, especially if you have like a slight lean forward whenever you do this and then you move back, you can clear the space a little bit easier, right? So what we're gonna do is we're going to be in a guard here. We're going to drop down and hit, right? So I'm gonna counter back with a 2. I'm essentially following their strike. They're hitting me with a 1, 2, right? Some of the time, you can just lean back and hit, especially if you're aiming for the arms, which is a really good spot to be aiming for with an evade counter, because you can still kind of get out of the way, especially if they're trying to hit your head and not hit your arm. And most of the time, if they're initiating, they're probably trying to hit your head or torso as opposed to trying to hit your arm, okay? Not always, right? Still should spar and figure this out on your own. Okay, so we're gonna go 1, 2. All right, so we're gonna do that 1 and 2 first. 1, 2. Now when I say 1 and 2, they're throwing the 1 and 2 at me, right? They're throwing a 1, I'm hitting behind. They're throwing a 2, boom, I'm hitting behind. I'm throwing a 2 and then a 1, or I'm throwing a 4 and a 3. It doesn't really matter on that, but I'm following their direction. So let's just practice that 1 and 2. So 1, gonna go back to your spot. Remember, this front foot gets glued to the ground. 2, 1, I have to move out of the way, and then I can hit. 1, 2. Now, I don't want this where the back foot stays glued and you lean really far out. Right? I can lean back if I have my back foot come back, because notice now my shoulder is not outside of my ankle. From here, my shoulder's outside of my ankle. It's hard, right? It's hard to come back quick. So be aware of that. 1, 2. 1, 2. Front foot stays glued. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay, so for your benefit, let's see how this will work for you. I'm going to throw a 1, or I'm going to throw a 2. You're going to evade and try to counter. All right, so essentially your goal here is just to see when my strike is coming and get out of the way, right? So I'm here. When I strike at you, move out of the way. Now, you also have to be careful because they're probably going to be closing the distance whenever they're doing this. So get out of that way. All right, I lied, we're not gonna do all 6. We're actually gonna just do 1, 2, and then we'll do 5 and 6, because I think 5 and 6 are really easy ones to practice on your own. All right, so what we're doing with 5 and 6 here, we're gonna do an avoidance step. Okay. Boom. That's it. So we're actually 5 and 6 are gonna be the same. They're different whenever we're doing the entire drill, right? Which is why I kind of showed you 1 through 6 of that drill, because we'll get to that later, but it works a lot better. Not better, but it's a kind of a block counter drill is what I really use it for. But since we're not blocking, we're only evading, 5 and 6 are the same thing, right? So you're going to move that leg out of the way as you kick. Now remember, when we're doing this, I don't want you to do this. Notice how my weight shifted back here. I don't want that. If they target your leg, you're just here, boom. That's all it is, right? You're just slipping that leg out of the way, avoidance step, and then hitting right on top of the head. So here and here, right? Obviously it's 2 different strikes that are going for the leg, but the reaction is the same. Pop, right? And now with my hands over here, I could do a 2, I could do a 1, I could do an 8. Doesn't really matter, right? Here, a 1, I can do 8, I can do a 2. The goal is this knee moves behind the hip, right? Not this. My knee's still in danger, right? They're trying to hit. I'm imagining that they're trying to either hit my knee or hit in the thigh, right? They could be aiming here as well, but that one should be covered also, right? So where your hip is, boom, goes back and then comes right back in place, and we're just striking right on top of the head, right? So I'll do a few more with you, and then I'll initiate. Here. And again, if you want to practice 1, 8, and 2, you're welcome to do that. The foot doesn't touch the ground though, not in the back at least. It touches the ground only in the front. Kick it back. All right, now I'm going to be attacking at you, so I'm going to initiate, and your job is to see me initiate, step back, or slip back and then hit, right? And then drop it back down in the front. Ready? Begin. Yes, I'm breaking the tempo. and don't want it to be something that's always the same. If you're practicing this with a partner, 1, make sure your partner is actually targeting your leg. 2, make sure they're not going 1, 2, 3, 4 with the same amount of time in between, right? It should be varying times. Get ready. All right, switch legs. Same thing, right? You're just gonna slip it back and you're gonna hit a 1, an 8, or a 2. Use that avoidance step, right? I'm still gonna stand in the same thing, right dominant, because it doesn't matter, because I'm targeting your leg. Ready? Begin. Slip it and hit. Avoidance step and hit. And now this does take a lot of time and practice as well with a partner of somebody trying to hit your leg, so you can get good at 1, seeing that they're about to strike here, right? You know I am right now. And even if you know that I am, getting the timing down.